I was a Christian. I had accepted Christ, but as we say, I was a follower at best. I was definitely not a disciple. And I had what I'll call a divine appointment with Brian Craig at a father-daughter retreat, and we immediately had a connection. And he mentioned this thing called the journey, just briefly, and I left there thinking, God, I need something. I don't know what it is, but I need something, because I had a lot of things going on in my life and I was not handling them well at all. And I just didn't really know the relationship that I could have. At first I was like, what is this thing really about? And is it just another Bible study? And then I quickly realized that it was much more than that. And it just started to soften my heart. I didn't know at the time I started it that God had plans for me that were going to be challenging. I went through after I started the journey, I started guiding groups, and I had some real challenges in my personal life. I ended up getting divorced, and not what I wanted, but it happened, and it just really rocked me. And I know that there's no way I could have made it through that whole ordeal if I wasn't plugged into a journey group. Those men supported me, they prayed for me, they encouraged me, they were there for me all the way through that very difficult process. And I thought, how is this part of the plan, God? And obviously it wasn't part of God's plan, but God took it and turned it into good ultimately. And I met a lady and married a beautiful lady, and He redeemed my life in so many ways. And I attribute so much of that to being in a journey group, being connected to the vine, being in this abiding relationship with Christ. The habits that I've developed through being in a journey group, the habits of quiet time, the habits of journaling, the habits of prayer, the habits of being in God's Word, those gave me the ability to walk through very difficult situations in my personal life, and not, be knocked off track, not be overcome by the devil, not being tricked by the deceiver. It's just a powerful thing. You meet guys that have been through the journey, and you have that immediate connection, that understanding of, we can speak a language that you don't really speak with other men, about, being in this intimate relationship with Christ, about carrying your brother's burden, about prayer, lifting up men in prayer, and about the ministry that you learn through the journey, which is, your first ministry is your wife. And what that really looks like, that sacrificial love, that loving her the way Christ loves the church. And then the ministry of your children, loving your children the way the Father loves us, extending that grace when they make a mistake, and then being the light to the world, living it out in your workplace, living it out in your neighborhood, living it out at your church. I mean, all of those things are things that I didn't really even understand until I went through the journey. I have never talked to a man that has gone through the journey, that has made the commitment to go through this process, that has looked back at the end of it and said, that was a waste of my time. I wish I hadn't have done that. Nobody ever says that. Every man always says, I don't want this to end. I don't want this time with these other men to come to an end. I want this to keep going. This is, nurturing to my soul. So my encouragement would be, try it and you won't regret it. It is that powerful.